refreshed. And what we just completed is the final set of prayers of Lord Brahma in chapter 14 of Canto 10. And there's some remaining prayers, or remaining verses, because his prayers are finished. And what verses 41 through 48, that's what we were discussing. And then there's a remaining set of verses, a long set of verses from 49 to 61. That ends chapter 14. It's a long chapter. So the concluding, here's what happened at the concluding section of Brahma's prayers. In verse 34 of his 40 prayers, Brahma made a request. He requested Krishna, and I want to go back to Brahma Loka and be Lord Brahma. I want to, please be kind and make an arrangement so I can take birth here in Vrindavan. Because I've come to appreciate the very, very special quality of the love of the residents of Vrindavan, unlike in the heavenly realm, unlike in Brahma Loka, unlike anywhere else in the material creation. The love of the residents of Vrindavan is very special. And I want the association of the residents of Vrindavan. So please allow me to take birth, even as an animal. Like Uddhava prayed to become even a blade of grass in Vrindavan. It's so special. So that's our Bhagavatam message. And then he finishes his prayers, but in the course of his prayers, when, as we just read, Krishna didn't say anything, and he didn't even give any gesture with his eyes, or nod his head, or nothing. He did no response at all. And Brahma understood what that meant. The answer was, not now. It wasn't a no. It wasn't a yes. It was a not now. Because Brahma created the universe. And he's got to go back to Brahma Loka and be in that position of the creator of the universe and maintainer of Dharma and everything else that Brahma does for the duration of the universe. Because Krishna is very kind, we can understand that the aspiration, the spiritual aspiration of the devotee of Krishna, Krishna will reciprocate with. One of my godbrothers, his name is Kaladri. Some of you may know Kaladri. Kaladri's been like a backbone of ISKCON North America for like 40 decades, 40 years or 4 decades. He's really an amazing person. So we had some discussion today, and then he just sent me this really nice passage, which I hope I can find. Yeah. This is Kaladri sending to me the memory of one devotee, a Prabhupada disciple named Atma Tattva, who was like a scholarly type. He's a Brahmin, definitely Brahmin. So Atma Tattva was distributing books one day. I had a Krishna book, and on the back cover was a picture of Prabhupada looking at a champak flower. I showed the man the picture and said, "This is our Guru Maharaj. He has translated these books." Paragraph. The man looked at that picture and then brought some thread and things from a little box, and then for 10 or 15 minutes measured Prabhupada's forehead, ears, and so on. Then he said, "This person's features show me that all 4 of the Vaishnava Sampradayas are present in him. I wish you had a picture of his full form." Paragraph. So I showed a photograph of Prabhupada's full form, and he did another study, this time with a lens. Then he said, I was not wrong. They, the four sampradayas, are all working through this person. You are very fortunate to be with him. I would like to be part of a movement like that in my next life. Paragraph. I said, but your ultimate goal is to go to Kailash, because he was a Shaivite. He said, yes, if I go there, I can tell Lord Shiva, I want to join too. I'm just reading that because it's really nice, and because Krishna knows that what's in the heart of others, and the desire to take birth somewhere, as Brahma's desire was to take birth in Vrindavan somehow by Krishna's mercy. So Krishna's silence didn't mean no, but he wanted him to return to Brahmaloka. And so he did. And he circumnavigated Krishna 3 times, again bowed down before Krishna, and off he went back to Brahmaloka. And that was the end of what we did with the earlier session. And now comes this section, verse 41 through 48. Shukadev Goswami said, having thus offered his prayers, Brahma circumnavigated his worshipable Lord, the unlimited personality of Godhead, 3 times, and then bowed down at his lotus feet. The appointed creator of the universe then returned to his own residence. So that's the first of what happened after his prayers. Another nice painting you see on the left side. That's Brahma hiding the cowherd boys in the cave. Here's a little detail. Some of you like details. It's a nice I like this detail. When the cowherd boys were having lunch, and Brahma was contemplating doing his nefarious activity, Krishna knew. So what did Krishna do? 3 things. 1, Krishna manifested, this is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, indicating that Krishna manifested Maya cowherd boys. Not, like copies. Not the real cowherd boys, but copies of the real cowherd boys. Because when Brahma came to steal them, Brahma can't steal the cowherd boys, and then he put them in a cave, and Brahma thought he had used his mystic power of putting them to sleep. But the commentators say, Brahma doesn't have the power to put the cowherd boys to sleep. Maya cowherd boys, yes. But he doesn't have the power to do that, to act on the original cowherd boys, because Krishna's original cowherd boys are the eternal associates of Krishna. Then the commentators go on to say that much like Ramachandra made an arrangement for Maya Sita to be kidnapped, so similarly, a Maya form of the cowherd boys, the original cowherd boys were taken by Vayu or Agni, one of the demigods. And it doesn't say where he took them, just like it doesn't say where Sita was taken. But somewhere for 1 year. The original cowherd boys, eternal cowherd boys. And the original cowherd boys forgot for that 1 year that they were separate from Krishna by the Yogamaya's arrangement. So there's 2. There's the copies, the originals, And then there's the cowherd boys that Krishna manifested, 3 cowherd boys in one Leela. Pretty good, huh? And then for that 1 year, that's when Krishna was satisfying the desire of the cowherd parents, this boy's parents, mother, father, and the cows. So for 1 year, Krishna was their son or their calf. And then after that 1 year, Krishna withdrew the cowherd boys that had been expanded, and the original cowherd boys were again returned, and they're sitting there having lunch with Krishna. That's what's pictured in the upper part of the painting. They're sitting there having their pastimes together, and they say to Krishna, "Oh, you're so attached. Look at, you're sitting there with your yogurt in your right and your left hand. You haven't even eaten anything yet. Now sit down and have lunch." As if a year hadn't been passed, but some moments had passed only by Yogamaya's arrangement. The original cowherd boys didn't know about that thing that happened for the whole year, where they weren't there because they were in the care of one of the demigods. I can't remember which one. Interesting, huh? So there's the same painting. There's there's Lord Brahma offering his obeisances, and off he goes. Now this says BBT. BBT means after Prabhupada made commentary through chapter 13, and then he departed. And then starting from chapter 14, it's no longer Prabhupada's purports, it's the BBT. It's Gopi Pranadhana and Hridayananda Maharaj and some others. Although Brahma had prayed to take birth as a blade of grass, in the verse actually says as even an animal, but here it says as a blade of grass. In Vrindavan, Lord Krishna, by his silence, indicated that Brahma should return to his own abode. First, Brahma had to complete his personal devotional service of universal creation. Then he could come to Vrindavan and get the mercy of the inhabitants there. This commentary from the BBs. This isn't Krishna book. This is directly from the Srimad Bhagavatam. According to the reasoning of Brahma Sutra, which says, the devatas remain in this world until the end of their tenure. Vishwanath writes, thus, after fulfilling his responsibilities in the post of Brahma, Brahma would attain his desired goal of residence in Vrindavan. Compliments of Krishna is very kind. The word swabhuvam, or to his own son, swabhuvam, indicates that Lord Krishna forgave the offense of Brahma had committed and treated him with affection as his son. So there was this question about, was Brahma angry? He wasn't angry. Brahma surrendered to him and offered nice prayers. So Krishna, as was requested in Brahma's prayers, as I'm your son, so children can misbehave sometime. So treat my conduct as misbehavior, but not malice. So please understand, it wasn't hurtful by design. I was curious, and I was using the powers that you gave me, and I was not doing it in a proper way, but it wasn't with malice. So punish me if you feel I should be punished, but there's no malice intended. And as was requested, BBT is commenting, that's how Krishna treated him. Krishna gave him permission, asking with a smile Are you going so soon? Jiva Goswami writes, this indicated Krishna's humility, mercy, forgiveness, teaching, joking, and scolding, with a hint of his omniscience. Next verse. So we're going to 48. So here's 42. After granting his son, Brahma, permission to leave, the Supreme Personality of Godhead took the calves, who were still where they had been a year earlier, and brought them to the riverbank. So the pastime was interesting phone. Do you recognize the ring? Is that your husband's phone? No? Not his phone? Okay. That was your phone. Okay. We know what to do now. Okay. So, what happened was, after Aghasura was killed, Krishna selected a place. They were near the bank of the river Jamuna, and Krishna described the place. It's sandy, it's clean, we can sit here and by the side of the river Jamuna and have our lunch. And they said, yay, and so they said, so while they were having their lunch, the calves started to wander. And the cowherd boys noticed the calves have started to wander. So Krishna said, no worries, I'll find the calves, you stay here and finish lunch. So Krishna got up. When Krishna got up, and the calves had gone elsewhere, that's when Brahma came and stole the cowherd boys, or the Maya cowherd boys. So now this is Krishna found the calves and brought the calves back, and the original cowherd boys are sitting there, and brought them to the riverbank where he had been taking his meal, where his cowherd boyfriends remained just as before. BBT commentary. Lord Brahma thought, I have kept all the boys and calves of Gokula sleeping on the bed of my mystic potency, and to this very day they have not risen. Who are these boys that look similar to the ones whom I had hidden? Where did they come from? That's when he came back and saw Krishna sitting with all the cowherd boys. So he went back to the scene of the crime to see what's Krishna going to do, and he saw Krishna sitting with all his friends. Sanatana Goswami. Krishna brought the original calves to the bank where the boys had been eating. The calves had been in the forest or on the riverbank at another place. Sanatana Goswami. Again, he comments, it is clear the boys remained in illusion at that place for 1 year. For it is said that Krishna brought only the calves back. So the original cowherd boys, according to another commentator, one demigod had been assigned to take them. He had previously gone to get the calves to pacify the anxious boys. It does not say that they came from somewhere and again sat there. With the disappearance of Maya, they were sitting on the bank for eating their meal. Why would other cowherds not see them there? Did they not suffer from cold wind during that time? Was it because of powerful illusion? Sanatana Goswami writes, though the Lord saw this condition of the boys, why was he indifferent? Did Brahma take the boys to Brahmaloka, to a place that the Lord could not see, and keep them there, bewildered by illusion? The answer is no. He can see anything. Nothing is invisible to the Supreme Lord. Thus, Lord Krishna appeared to be searching for the calves and boys only to enact the dramatic pastime of bewildering Lord Brahma. After Brahma surrendered and offered prayers, Lord Krishna returned to the original boys and calves, who appeared exactly as before, although their size had somewhat increased because of 1 year's growth. It's a nice detail. 4-year-old boys become 5-year-old boys and they grow, right? How old are you? You're 7. Really? You're a big girl now. 7. When's your birthday? May 16th? Okay. We'll wish you in advance happy birthday. Okay, Hare Krishna. They, the cowherd boys, were on the bed of Maya. By the mercy of the Lord, they did not suffer. They were not invisible to the Lord either. When Krishna began searching for them, that's the calves, that was a show of extreme affection in order to fool Brahma. How could they remain sitting there for such a long time? Did they forget about eating and drinking? Little boys don't do that. Sridhar Swami writes, the boys were situated as previously. The boys, the calves, the bank, the food, and the seats were there as previously since 1 year. Even the food didn't go stale. Yogamaya. Verse 43. O king! Although the boys had passed an entire year apart from the Lord of their very lives, they had been covered by Lord Krishna's illusory potency, and thus considered that year merely a half a moment. Half a moment, not even a moment. This is Shukadeva Goswami speaking. And here comes commentary by Vishwanath. 4 verses show how the power of Yogamaya allowed the cowherd boys to be unaware of the missing time for 1 year and complete their lunch pastime with Krishna as previously. Without their prana devata, 1 year became like a moment. It's usually the other way around. As they were covered by Yogamaya. Do you know what Yogamaya is? Any idea? Yogamaya? You know what Mahamaya is, right? The deluding potency that people think what isn't is, and what is isn't. That's Mahamaya. The deluding potency. That covers living entities, so they don't know what's what. Yogamaya is a special spiritual potency by which Krishna conceals his spiritual identity when he wants to. Or he can accelerate the spiritual emotion of his devotee through the agency of his Yogamaya potency. It's a spiritual potency of Krishna that's special for the devotees. And then non-devotees get the Mahamaya version. But it's one energy acting differently according to Krishna's indication, because it's his energy. She wants to do what he wants. So by the Yogamaya potency, which is what Krishna wants, the cowherd boys that were covered for a whole year, it felt like a moment. That's Yogamaya potency. Vishwanath writes, usually in meeting Krishna, a long time seemed very short. But in this case, separation from Krishna seemed very short because of Yogamaya. Further commentary, Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami. The boys' ignorance of time was caused by Maya, that's Yogamaya. They passed a year without the Lord of their lives, Atmanaha. So normally that would be like unbearable. Or they were bewildered by Krishna's own Atmanaha, Maya. Though it was Brahma's Maya, it was permitted by Krishna and carried out by Brahma. That's Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami's commentary. Here's Jiva Goswami. The boys thought that only 5 moments, before it was less than a moment, but different commentators. In their perception, time had remained without passing of muhurtas, days, and seasons. So verse 44. So we're about halfway through. What indeed is not forgotten by those whose minds are bewildered by the Lord's illusory potency. By that power of Maya, this entire universe remains in perpetual bewilderment. And no commentary for this. Yes, here's commentary. In this atmosphere of forgetfulness, no one can understand his own identity. Yeah, Jiva Goswami. Everyone perpetually forgets. In deep sleep, or even with knowledge of scriptures, everyone forgets that they are different from the gross and subtle bodies. This is the power of Maya. Vishwanath writes, just as Maha-Maya keeps the jiva in forgetfulness of his self, Yogamaya made the cowherd boys forget separation from Krishna, which lasted a year. So Krishna enacts pastimes through his potencies. And the main potency is Yogamaya. Halfway finished, here's verse 45. The cowherd boyfriends said to Lord Krishna, they tease him, you returned so quickly. We have not eaten even one morsel in your absence. Please come here and take your meal without distraction. They're like instructing him, treating him as if he's one of them. When we know he's not, but they don't know he's not. The cowherd boy spoke to Krishna, who had very quickly returned with happiness. Swagatam. We thought you would have taken at least one gatika. So what's a gatika? It says down below. To bring the calves back so far away, but you have brought them in an instant. Without you, we have not eaten a morsel. Therefore, please come here. Though a year had passed, they remained with the food in their hands by the power of Krishna's Ichha Shakti. So, terminology, Yogamaya moves by the indication of Krishna's Ichha. What's Ichha? Ichha means desire. It was will. He desires something. So he doesn't have to do anything. He just I desire. And, voila. Yogamaya carries it out. Next verse. The Lord, then, Lord Rishikesha, smiling, finished his lunch in the company of his cowherd friends. While they were returning from the forest to their homes, Lord Krishna showed the cowherd boys the skin of the dead serpent Aghasura. You see in the upper part of the painting, Krishna's gesturing to this gigantic demon. So he had been lying there for a year. Smiling to show his bliss, Krishna ate with the cowherd boys. Even though a year had passed, the food did not show any lack of taste. Now, a nice B.G. Sharma painting showing even while they're eating, they're just playing. Like, they're little boys. They like playing. There is Aghasura. Oh, friends, look at the skin of this snake. In order the boys would spread the news of the killing of Aghasura, Yogamaya had kept the snake there for a year. Under her influence, giving up the forest pastimes, he returned home. So he's headed back to Vrindavan town. Lord Krishna's transcendental body was decorated with peacock feathers and flowers and painted with forest minerals, and his bamboo flute and buffalo horn loudly and festively resounded. He's letting everybody know we're coming back. As he called out to his calves by name, the cowherd boyfriends purified the whole world by chanting his glories. There's some really nice artwork here, yeah? So there he is, heading back to the village. And upstairs, you see, there's the elder gopis and gopas. Thus, Lord Krishna entered the cow pasture of his father Nanda Maharaj, and the sight of his beauty at once produced a great festival for the eyes of all the cowherd women. In clarification is, this is the elder gopis, please. Krishna's cowherd boyfriends were so proud of Krishna's wonderful activities that while entering the village, they all sang his glories. Again, BBT, commentary. And the final verse. As the cowherd boys reached the village of Vraja, they sang, "Today Krishna saved us by killing a great serpent." A year had passed for the residents of Vrindavan, but they didn't know what happened because the cowherd boys that came back to be with their son for a year, they didn't say Krishna killed Aghasura, so now they're hearing the news for the first time. Some of the boys described Krishna as the son of Yashoda, others as the son of Maharaj Nanda. Actually, Lord Krishna had killed the demon Aghasura 1 year earlier. This is BBT. But the boys were bewildered by the mystic potency of Brahma for 1 year. Well, mystic potency of Krishna, by the way. They did not notice the time passing, and thus thought that on that very day Lord Krishna had killed the demon Aghasura and was now returning home with them. And that's the end. So here's getting ready for the next session. So Maharaj Pariksit is going to inquire, wow, and he wants to hear and hear from Shukadev Goswami describe how it is that Krishna is the ultimate object of love for everyone. And I'll do my best to find where the English only, not the English-Chinese version is, because they translated into Chinese from the English version. I don't know what happened. So some of you have been with us for almost 3 hours. You're very patient. But, this is our evening class starting at 7 o'clock, and now it's 7:40. Let's see if there's some discussion. Krishna's pastimes to Vrindavan are very wonderful. Yeah. Here comes the microphone.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
You're on.
So just like how the cowherd boys didn't remember anything, they were completely
Yogamaya.
Yeah, by Yogamaya. So in the same way, when we go back home one day, would we also not remember anything?
We'll have to wait and find out. That's a good answer, huh?
Yeah.
Your question is prompting me to read to you something else. This came, one of Prabhupada's disciples, he gave the name Abhiram Prabhu. And Abhiram Prabhu was selected or recommended by Tamal Krishna Maharaj to be Prabhupada's nurse when he became very seriously ill. It's like a whole sequence of events, but he had gone to Rishikesh, he was feeling very weak, and he decided to return to Vrindavan so he could leave the world. So during that period of time, Abhiram was his nurse who was looking after his medical needs 24/7, literally. So Abhiram tells this nice story that he was in the room, there's just four of them, Prabhupada and Abhiram, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Brahmananda. And Brahmananda asked Prabhupada, an unpleasant, an uncomfortable question. Will we be with you in the spiritual world? You want to hear the answer? It's really nice. And I hope I can find it because I don't always do well with my phone. Okay, here it goes. Brahmananda and Tamal Krishna Maharaj were in the room, and I was simply attending Prabhupada. So I witnessed Brahmananda being so incredibly loving to Srila Prabhupada. He asked, Srila Prabhupada, will we be with you in the spiritual world? And Prabhupada made an amazing statement. He said, when we go back to Krishna Loka, the residents of Vaikuntha will fly over our heads in their flower airplanes, and will look down and they will exclaim, oh, look at the nice Guru and his disciples. So what could be a more reassuring blessing? That we are this family we may have, I don't know, millions of devotees worldwide, fully dedicated, maybe more. That's a small fraction of what Srila Prabhupada's heart can contain and shelter. Just a fraction. So that's Abhiram describing what Prabhupada said. I'll read it again. When we go back to Krishna Loka, the residents of Vaikuntha will fly over our heads in their flower airplanes, and they will look down and they will exclaim, oh, look at the nice Guru and his disciples. What an answer. And this is just, Prabhupada didn't speak like this commonly, but he knew very well what he was doing. And the result of what he was doing, he was bringing people back to Godhead. He was giving teachings on, X, Y, and Z. The duty of the living entity, Sanatana Dharma, and this and that and the other thing and the other thing. Chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita, Deninos Minyata Dehe, ABC stuff. But he was preparing us to become attached to Krishna. And those who become attached to Krishna go to Krishna. It's clear in the scripture. He knew what he was doing. Because he was attached to Krishna, they became attached to him. They became attached to Krishna. And he was going back to Godhead. Will we be with you? Yes. Now that doesn't directly answer your question. It's just your question inspired that sharing. You want to add something? You got a microphone. You want to say something further? You usually do.
I was just contemplating that, just like how the cowherd boys were right there, and they were like, Krishna, I've been waiting for you. Here's your food.
Yeah.
So we also have eternal services with Krishna. So are we going to be right there like, Krishna, where are you? Where have you been?
Well, it's up to Krishna what we're going to do. We'll do whatever Krishna wants. That's what we're going to do. And it can change. It sometimes does. In here and there. But Prabhupada's words, the spiritual world is dynamic, not static. So when you're ready to do what Krishna wants, whatever Krishna wants, that's what you do. Isn't it? Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
I will.
So Maharaj, I was thinking when Brahma just stole the cowherd boys, and then the demon Bhaumasura also did the same thing. He stole the cowherd boys, and Krishna punished somebody with death, and then he just forgave Brahma without anything. Very similar story, parallel from Indra, who tried not to just kill a portion of the cowherd boys or cowherd girls, but the whole village he wanted to destroy.
Yeah.
He got forgiven, and then Aghasur, he just wanted to kill a few of them, and then he was killed. So that's a...
When he got killed, what happened? What happened? Sarupya Mukti.
Yeah.
Not Sayuja Mukti. Sarupya Mukti.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Krishna has a stick. When he uses the stick, Sarupya Mukti. No problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Krishna killing is also liberation.
Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for taking continuous class for 2 classes.
Yeah, 2 classes.
Yes. And my question is after the Brahma finishes his tenure, that you were one of the commentaries, then he will be getting a birth in Vrindavan. So what is the birth?
It doesn't say. Whatever Krishna wants, that's what it'll be. We don't know. There's no indication.
Oh, okay.
You keep asking in different ways, but there's no answer. In the back.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the wonderful class. My question was that we know that when Brahma takes away the
Microphone.
cowherd boys, when Brahma takes away the cowherd boys, Krishna expands himself, and the cowherd boys and the calves, they come, and the mothers, they're very loving because they're loving Krishna.
Yeah.
And but after 1 year,
Yeah.
when the real cowherd boys come back, do the mothers realize the difference?
No. No, it's surprising in one sense, but in another sense it's not surprising. You know, they're not surprising because Yogamaya can do whatever Krishna wants. So whatever it is that Krishna wants, that's what happened. Now, was there anything that was spoken by the cowherd boys that were Krishna for 1 year, and the cowherd boys that weren't Krishna that came back the next year? You know, there's likely to be something. You know, did you something? You know, their set of clothes, or you know, something to tip the mothers off. Wait a minute, what's going on here? But Yogamaya has ways of doing things. One of the nicest things of all of this is that very day that Aghasura was killed, Brahma didn't go. And for that 1 year that Krishna was the calves and the cowherd boys, Brahma didn't know. He's omniscient, but he didn't know because Yogamaya covered, and then the curtain was pulled back. So Yogamaya can do whatever Krishna wants in simple language. And exactly what about this and that and the other thing, Yogamaya's got it covered. Because the pastimes of Krishna are through the agency of Yogamaya. Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question was, like a mother, Yashoda, like what did she do to like get like the great opportunity to like be Krishna's mother? Like what did she like in like the material body, like what did she do, or was she always Krishna's mother?
She's always. Specifically, the eternal associates, here's a detail. The eternal associates of Krishna, it's not a post, and someone can occupy that post. Someone can become an assistant of the cowherd boys, the gopis, Mother Jasoda, but they can't become Mother Jasoda. She's eternally Mother Jasoda. Assistant of, yes. There are different, it's just a detail, there are different levels of gopis by different ages and different kinds of service that they do, and those are eternal associates. And for the sadhakas that become very proficient in not just sadhana bhakti but raga bhakti, they may become assistants of those personalities of different layers and different ages and different types of service. We can assist the eternal associates or cowherd boys. They're eternal, and one can assist them. Is that all right? Okay. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you. From the previous class, I think I heard you say that Krishna didn't look at Brahma when Brahma is doing all the prayers.
Yeah.
In Sakramaya.
Well, he didn't have eye contact. It's not. It's what one of the acharyas said. He didn't say he didn't look at him. His unblinking eyes is one of the phrases that's used. So he's looking at him, but not indicating anything through that glance. No.
The question is, was there a reason why he didn't?
Yeah. The reason why was later. No, Brahma, you want the, he knows the whole thing. He knew what Brahma was up to even before he did it. What to speak of after he did it. So Krishna is omniscient. Past, present, future, omniscient. So he knew what Brahma wanted, and he wanted something else. Krishna wanted, you got to finish up your tenure, please. It wasn't like, the silent treatment. He wasn't being cruel or something. Okay, looks like we finished. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.